Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to tonight's special presentation of Heartland Championship Wrestling as we bring you the 2022 Year-End Awards Show. My name is Dave Little, and we are coming to you live from the Dave Cave with this recap of the Year in Review 2022, and what a stellar year it was in Heartland Championship Wrestling. Thank you to everybody who tuned in on the message boards and live on the Epic Sports Broadcasting Network. And it is time to get things started. It has been a stellar year, as I mentioned, in 2022. The year kicked off with the Buckeye Bowl on New Year's Day of 2022. And the big winner of the Buckeye Bowl, as you may recall, was Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle entered at number 30. And he came into the ring and pitched out Ric Flair. He pitched out George Hackenschmidt. And finally, he eliminated Harley Race to win the Buckeye Bowl. And at the time, Angle was representing Patriot Championship Wrestling, which was not formerly a part of the NWA at that point in time. But after a series of intense negotiations, Angle was able to secure an NWA title match against the World Heavyweight Champion Vader. And it was in the midst of those negotiations that high drama took place up in the northeast part of the country, as the boss, the man behind the establishment and financing of Patriot Championship Wrestling, was revealed to be none other than Alex Rodriguez. And Rodriguez was forced by Angle and Angle and Vader to sign those contracts. And at Heartland Havoc 107, the historic title match went down as Angle challenged Vader for the World Heavyweight Championship, and it was Vader who retained the title on that occasion. So Angle won the Buckeye Bowl, but was not able to convert that into a World Championship run. The next big event in 2022 was the Money in the Bank ladder match, and that was won by Dr. Death Steve Williams. And it was indeed a chaotic year for Dr. Death. He began the year as an ally of Ted DiBiase, but then lost to DiBiase in a match for the vacant Pro Wrestling Mid-America Heavyweight Championship. The two remained friends, and DiBiase used his influence to get Williams entered into the Money in the Bank ladder match, and Williams came out victorious and went on to win the World Heavyweight Championship on May the 7th. So Williams defeated Vader for the world title, and that is when the heat with DiBiase began. At Freedom Festival 2022, Vader regained the heavyweight title from Dr. Death. And on July 30th, it was Williams and DiBiase who squared off again for the number one contendership, the next shot at Vader. And it was DiBiase who won that match with some dirty tactics, a low blow and a pull of the tights. And that ended the alliance between Williams and Dr. Death. Dr. Death would come back and win the Filsinger Cup tournament in October of 2022 and catch the victory over Strangler Lewis in the finals of that tournament. So a double win for Williams, Money in the Bank and Filsinger Cup wins for Williams in 2022. But Williams would come back at the Won't Get Fooled Again pay-per-view just a couple of weeks ago and lose again to DiBiase, challenging for the World Championship in that ladder match. And we saw that go down on our last broadcast. Also in Filsinger Cup action, the Ladies Tag Team Cup was won by the Kimber Bombs. They defeated the team of Malaya Hosaka and Jazz in the tournament final in what turned out to be the match of the year. And we'll hear more about that later in this broadcast. The Kimber Bombs and the team of Hosaka and Jazz swapped the titles back and forth throughout 2022, with the last victory at the Won't Get Fooled Again pay-per-view going to Malaya and Jazz. This was the 6th year of the Heartland Ladies Tag Team Filsinger Cup Championship, and there have been no repeat winners. So the 6 years and 6 unique winners. This year, that title went to the Kimber Bombs. The Filsinger Cup Tag Team Championship was won by the Midnight Express. They also won that championship back in 2016. This year, they defeated the Road Warriors in the tournament final. And as Kevin Butcher pointed out, the Road Warriors have never won the Filsinger Cup Championship in the history of the Heartland. Unfortunately for the Midnights, they would go to Philadelphia for their world title match Thanksgiving weekend and lose to the New Age Outlaws. So congratulations to Eaton and Lane for winning the Filsinger Cup. Unfortunately, they came up short in their world title bid. And of course, the Ladies Filsinger Cup Championship was won by cheerleader Melissa, and this was her 4th Filsinger Cup Championship. She defeated Mercedes Martinez in a brutal semifinal match and then got a victory over the hated Holidead in the tournament final. And as a result of that victory, Melissa was awarded the vacant Heartland Ladies Championship. So those are your competition highlights of the major events in the Heartland this year. Moving on. Our next award is the Match of the Year. And as we talked about, the Filsinger Cup Ladies Tag Team Championship final match between the Kimber Bombs and the team of Malaya Hosaka and Jazz gets the award for Match of the Year. This went down at the 2022 Tournament of Champions on October the 29th in Atlanta. And this was another battle in a long rivalry between these two teams. The Kimber Bombs and Malaya and Jazz, as I mentioned, traded the belts back and forth several times over the summer. And on this occasion, this match went back and forth for nearly 30 minutes before the Kimber Bombs won the victory. After Kimber took Malaya out with a low blow, the Bombs double-teamed Jazz and got the pin and got themselves one more title opportunity by virtue of winning the Filsinger Cup. But the last laugh went to Malaya and Jazz as they retained the titles at the Won't Get Fooled Again pay-per-view just a couple of weeks ago. Next up, the Feud of the Year. The Feud of the Year took place between the team of Dusty Rhodes and Dick Murdoch, the original Texas Outlaws, as they battled Terry Funk and Dory Funk Jr., the Funk brothers, throughout the summer of 2022. The first encounter took place on March the 23rd in Memphis when Terry Funk defeated Dusty Rhodes to win the Southland Heavyweight Championship. But that victory came with help from outside interference from Dory Funk Jr., and that's what set this feud in motion. At Dawn of Destiny 2022, these two teams had a tag team match, a grudge match that was won by the Funk brothers, but the Texas Outlaws were not satisfied. Dick Murdoch took on Dory Funk Jr. in an I Quit match in Tampa on May 28th at the Refugee pay-per-view. And it was Dory who forced Murdoch to quit when Dory grabbed an umbrella from an old lady at ringside and tried to put out Murdoch's eye. That was the end of that. Dusty Rhodes would come back into the fracas and beat Dory Funk on July 2nd in Dallas in a dog collar match. And the feud finally came to a bloody conclusion at Freedom Festival 2022, 4th of July weekend in Dayton, Ohio, when Dusty Rhodes defeated Terry Funk in an alley fight in a match that was nothing short of a bloodbath. that ended when Rhodes pounded Funk with bionic elbows in the parking lot of the Nutter Center until Funk was knocked out cold. So 2022, a very violent and vicious year between the Texas Outlaws and the Funk Brothers. Ladies Tag Team of the Year, to no surprise, the team of Malaya Hosaka and Jazz. We've talked about them a couple of times already. These two came together as a tag team late in the year 2021 and began 2022 battling their way through the ranks of the tag team division. And finally, this team on May the 21st shocked the Heartland by defeating the Kimber Bombs to win the Heartland Ladies Tag Team Championship. And the Kimber Bombs and Malaya and Jazz would battle back and forth all summer, trading the titles back and forth. Malaya and Jazz also successfully defended the titles against the team of Misery, Mischief, and Christina Von Airy, and also with a big victory over the team known as Mount Tessa, Tessa Blanchard and Vanessa Craven. They went on to have the match of the year against the Kimber Bombs at the Filsinger Cup, and as we mentioned, Malaya and Jazz defeated the Kimber Bombs for the final time on December 17th at the Won't Get Fooled Again pay-per-view in Chicago, and they will enter 2023 as your defending Heartland Ladies Tag Team Champions. So congratulations to Malaya and Jazz for a stellar year in 2022. Tag Team of the Year in the Heartland for 2022 was the New Age Outlaws. This is their second time capturing that award. The first time was the very first time this was awarded back in 2008. So sort of a bookend run for the Outlaws. They won it in 2008. They won it in 2022. They began the year on the outside looking in. But throughout the year worked their way into the world title picture. And finally, on April 16th in Cincinnati, the Outlaws defeated the Fabulous Freebirds to win the titles at the Dawn of Destiny pay-per-view. The Outlaws would lose the titles to the Steiner brothers on August 20th. And then the Outlaws shocked the world, turning heel and bringing in the Fallen Angel as their manager. And with the help of the Fallen Angel, the Road Dogg and the Badass managed to regain the titles from the Steiner brothers on September 24th. And they have held the title since then with successful defenses over some of the top teams in the Heartland, the Wild Samoans, the Midnight Express, the Steiner brothers, the team of Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher. All these teams have tried and failed to dethrone the New Age Outlaws. They are your Tag Team of the Year for 2022, and they are your defending NWA World Tag Team Champions as we head into 2023. Next up, the Lady Wrestler of the Year. And the Lady Wrestler of the Year goes to none other than cheerleader Melissa, the most decorated athlete in the history of Heartland Championship Wrestling. She is a 6-time Lady Wrestler of the Year, most recently winning that award in 2017, and now she has it again in 2022. And it's been a great run for Melissa. She held the Mistress of Mayhem Championship for over a year, from July the 31st of 2021 all the way through to August 3rd of this year. And then Melissa won a tournament to earn the vacated Heartland Ladies title and begin her 10th reign as Heartland Ladies Champion. Again, the most decorated wrestler in Heartland history. So congratulations to cheerleader Melissa, the Lady Wrestler of the Year for 2022. And finally, the moment we have all been waiting for, the Wrestler of the Year. The Wrestler of the Year in the Heartland is none other than the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. And what a year it has been for DiBiase. He has been the center of the wrestling universe. he has been the center of controversy. DiBiase started the year winning the vacant Pro Wrestling Mid-America Championship on April 2nd. That belt was vacated by Nick Bockwinkel after Bockwinkel won the world title. DiBiase successfully defended the PWMA Championship against the likes of the Great Muta, Bobo Brazil, and his former ally and tag team partner, Dr. Death, Steve Williams, as well as Hillbilly Jim and Jerry the King Lawler. Finally, he had a controversial win in the NWA #1 contenders match against Dr. Death, Steve Williams. As we mentioned before, Williams and Lex Luger were allied with DiBiase, but Luger refused to intervene in that match, and Luger skipped town. And DiBiase took matters into his own hands and defeated Dr. Death Steve Williams with some dirty tactics to become the #1 contender in the NWA for the World Championship. And on September 4th, it was DiBiase, now assisted by a new right-hand man, Big Scott Hall. With help from Big Scott Hall, DiBiase defeated Vader on September 24th to win the NWA World Heavyweight Championship at the Resilience pay-per-view. After that, DiBiase would go on to not only align himself with Scott Hall, but also added Meng to his entourage. And that threesome makes a devastating alliance, as Meng and Big Scott Hall do the bidding of Ted DiBiase, helping DiBiase to hold on to his title just as he did at the Won't Get Fooled Again pay-per-view on December 17th. Many of you were here for that lumberjack match when it was Meng whacking Dr. Death with a steel chair to set the stage for DiBiase to get the win and the successful defense of the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And as we head into 2023, DiBiase is your reigning and defending NWA World Heavyweight Champion. All right, that is it for the wrap-up for this year in wrestling in the Heartland. Thank you to everybody who checked out any of our shows this year on the Epic Sports Broadcasting Network or on the Filsinger message board. A few folks stopping by Discord. And we look forward to more great wrestling action in 2023. Our next pay-per-view on the Heartland will be the Buckeye Bowl. The Buckeye Bowl is our version of the Royal Rumble. It's 30 guys, and it's really a long match. It takes most of the day to play out, so I have not streamed the Buckeye Bowl live in the past, and I don't intend to do it this year. But keep an eye out on the message boards for the results of Buckeye Bowl 2023, which I'm actually going to run that show on New Year's Eve and post the results probably on New Year's Day. I'll be back on Sunday, New Year's Day, also with the next episode of My Journey with Jesus, if you were so inclined to check that out. And finally, the Epic Basketball League, I'm still uncertain as to when we'll make it back onto the channel with the next installment of the Epic Basketball League. Some things in my weekly routines are changing. This year, actually beginning this coming Friday, I start candidate training for the black belt in Taekwondo, and that's going to take place on Friday nights. And I'm not sure how much time and energy I'm going to have on Fridays after black belt training to come home and broadcast a 2-hour basketball game. But we'll get a feel for that in the next few weeks. If you're a fan of the Epic Basketball League, stay tuned and we'll let you know in the next few weeks how that is going to play itself out in 2023. And with that, we will sign out for tonight. Thank you again for everybody for your support for the Epic Sports Broadcasting Network. We do basketball, we do wrestling, we occasionally do some side projects, And of course, on Sundays, My Journey with Jesus. And we appreciate everybody's support in all of those streams. So this is Dave Little signing off from the Dave Cave. Happy holidays and Happy New Year to everybody. That's our stream, and I am out of here.